Kaulana e kalahe o Kīpaepae Hoʻokuʻu. Kaulana e kalahe o Kīpaepae atu te niu pea hi ani kaulana e kalahe o Kīpaepae atu te niu pea hi ani tāna tohu pea hi ta pipi o ta lau tu te niu holu ho na pe pu'uwai kohu pea hi ta pipi o ta lau tu te niu holu ho na pe pu'uwai ho'okahi no pea hi papai a ulu ho'olau tāna ka olu ta mowai ho'okahi no pea hi papai a ulu ho'olau tāna ka olu ta mowai o a e nei papa Kīpaepae iki papa ka haua noho i ta malu hie ka mapuleo ta mapuleo anei pea hi leo tuneneheia he ano ai ta mapuleo anei pea hi leo tuneneheia he ano ai e
Paka! Paka paka! Ku paka! Ku loloku!
Ano ai ke aloha ia kākou a pau, aloha nui kākou, e ka leho. E ako mai maki e wahine no. Ka puka ana, ka likaya ana o ana ke. No laila, aloha nui. I am a representative of the Uno Kumukumu, also known as the Uno Lehua hula cohort, and all of the kumu hula that have come through our program at Uno Kupukupu. When I think of the many ways that Aunty Gail has touched our lives here at the halau, at the educational level, at the academic level, I have one name that comes to mind, Hi'iaka. And I think of that because through all of the pukas and all of the needs that needed to be filled, Aunty Gail came in clutch, and she fulfilled those needs through the many pāmāmau and all of the other learning opportunities that we had across the globe, across the Pacific, and here in Hawaii. A lot of those needs that for us kumuhula, many of those things are filled by Aunty Gail. So we just want to say a huge mahalo to you, and you are our hi'iaka, and you can now release us from your womb, and now we may be ho'oku'u ia from you, yeah, Auntie, mahalo, love you.
Aloha, Aunty Gail. I guess it's my turn to talk. Behind me are my students and my mother's students. In the front we have Unulau, and the gray is Uhaka. And all these people here are preparing to transition into Kumuhula, to become leaders amongst many of our communities. But it's not without your absence, Aunty Gail. We are products of all of the work that you've done. O'oi no, o komako hilo, komako aho hilo. You're the connection that has created the opportunity to bridge the gap between Hawaiians who live afar and Hawaiians who live here. And I'm very much a product of all of the work and energy that you've put in. We dance Ahiloa Ue for you, for many reasons, as I've explained, and He Ukana Ka Kilauea. If you don't know, go watch them. I want to go to the whole chat. But without these places, without the pana, these places are not celebrated. You are the pana, Aunty Gail, for us to dance.
Oh, yeah.
So let us dance for you, Aunty. Mahalo.
Oh, yeah.
Aloha, everyone. Can you hear me? Shall I say something before the kukuana perform? Mahalo nui, Aunty Gail, for providing this platform, for providing this transformative experience for so many of us, working together with Tangaro to create the kukuana cohort, a cohort named in honor of the sister of Pele, whose function is to keep the flame, to nurture our lehua groves, to gather kino lau and make lei, to prepare and preside over Ava ceremony, and also, importantly, to serve as a guide, including those folks who are maybe find themselves in a wilderness. So that speaks to the identity of Kukuʻana, speaks a little bit to our cohort and what our functions are on our UH and Hawaii community campuses. Mahalo nui, Aunty Gail, for bringing our campuses closer together again, for providing that opportunity for us to connect directly with our students, not only as like faculty and staff, but as aunties and uncles, for those profound experiences, for organizing and fully participating in Hu'elepo, Huaka'i to Moloka'i and Kauai, to helping with us learn Hey, like Kuhaupio Kala, for being a repository of knowledge for the words of chants and motions from our hula, our mele hula. We think of you all the time, and we look forward to the day in the near future when you return to our midst in Kukuʻana. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say. My name is Drew Kapp. I'm an instructor of geography at Hawaii Community College and at Hilo, formerly at UH Hilo. But I would love to, I want to just say, Aunty Gail, you have been a sister, a friend, a mentor, a role model, a source of inspiration for all of us. So mahalo nui and ho'omaika'i. And mahalo to my my hula sisters. I wish I were there with you.
Ai. Pehe ka mapoho. Mahalo nui ke hoʻomaikaʻi nui ana ia ʻoe Gail. Keia mau makahiki. E hoʻokuku paha wau me oe, hoʻoʻoi ke hoʻokuku paha me aʻu. A ka manao wau kana kolu kuma kolu. Aʻu makahiki I hana e me ka makahiki miku maiwa, kana walu kumaiwa. Ke la ka hoʻomaka ana paha ke ia manao no nā pua no e au. A nui ko komo ana I loko o ke la. O lua no hoi me David Singh. A nui na hoʻala ana I nā manao Hawaii, nā papahana Hawaii. Ma o ke ia poe kumu o kofa, I ho kumu ia no ke kako ana. I ka papahana haumana. I loa ka naʻauao kupono I loko o ke ia kula nui o Hawaii nei mahilo. No leila, I leila oe ma ke la kīpaepae ana I nā papahana. Nā ano nui kā la like ole. Title e kolu, e ha, e lima paha, e ono paha. I leila ka nui o ke la ano no o No pehea hoi e ho'oholo mua i ka kākou hana. Ka ho'ona au kupono ana i ka kākou maupua. Ni hiki ke kokua i ko kākou mau kaia ulu o Hawaii nei. No leila, e like me ka i hai mua kunei a ohe hiki ke pani ia kou wahi me ka kupono loa. Ai no nae, o nā mamo no ia e ho mau aku i loko o ke i mau makahiki. No leila i kou wā e ho nane ana, aka. Mapopo iau e huli mai ana oe e nāna mai a mako i loko o ke i papahana. Keia mau hana a pau no ke ola o ka kākou o lelo ko kākou mauli Hawaii no hoi. Ke nāna aloha mai nei hoi nā kupuna i nā mākua ia kākou a pau i keia la. Mamuli no hoi o kau mau hana o oeho i ke kai o nā mākua mua loa i loko nā papahana o ahapuna na leo. Me kau keiki no hoi me mamo kane mo opuna keia manawa. Nui ka hau oli, nui ka ho mai ka ia oe. No leila, oia kahi mana o li'i e hiki ke ho mai ka i hou aku. Me ka mana o ho mai, ho nani mili lani kia kua. Keia makana nui au. Mahalo.
Ai nui ana i ko kako aluli ke ana, ma ke ka hoa hano i ka wahine lei.
Oh, yeah.
A ole no he lua pa. A ole no he lua.
Erike!
Me ka mahine lei ula.
Hima!
O moe a moe iho.
Iho api!
Kina ia hila ve pio.
Alana kila!
A ole no he lua.
Erike!
Me ka mahine lei ula.
Hima!
O moe a moe iho.
Iho api!
Kina ia hila ve pio.
Alana kila!
Ai, kina ia hila ve pio a lana kila.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Mahalo nui. Mahalo nui. Gail, this mic is for you and your family. We need more Makuakanes. The main thing is we don't start uwe because you and I we're ugly criers. Oh, you guys, to the Makuakāne ohana, ka mama, ka papa na kupuna o ko o Gail, ho'okahi no wahine he mamo ia na kela kupuna, kela pai kupuna no leila ke komaku mahalo ia o e Gail he mahalo kupuna ke ia. We thank the ancestors that gave birth to you and the food that they decided to feed you. And the experiences that they decided was important enough for you to know. Because all of that combined has contributed to, this is just a really, hula people, you just to get performance, they're gonna come. But get other people, and because of the pandemic and other situations, there's just many halaus that you've started, not just contributed to the halau hula, but many halaus of thought, not just of thought, but of action. Not just of the action, but of creativity. You taught us how to think creatively. Always say yes, that was you. Always say yes, figure out the details later. We're beneficiaries of that philosophy and of that action. You are likened to our hi'iaka. Yes, you are. Too often we see our deity as far and beyond us. But that's not always the case. We descend from them, we eat them, we breathe them, and so we should identify with our deity. Hi'iaka cannot just be on the outside, some historical mythological figure that did a great journey, but she should be in us. We should be able to identify. For us to understand Hi'iaka, we have to know the Hi'iaka in us. Or sometimes we need to focus on the Hi'iaka outside of us. For what? So at the end of the day, we can begin seeing the Hi'iaka in us. The Ahilo Wawe, you talked about the pana, that we have all these beautiful places, but without the pana, without the beat, without the vibrations from these places, might as well just pass them on the road. You've provided us an opportunity to stop and experience traditional vahipana, the ones that we've inherited, but also create our historical spaces so that we can add on. It's like hula. We cannot just dance the hula that was given us. We use those to foundation new hulas. We cannot just inherit a set of vahipana and that's the end of it. How do we create more spaces, more experiences that are meaningful, that are worth its grain and salt for our mo'opuna? Lovely that you brought the mo'opuna, because this is what it's all about. Ke'eli Kolani, we talked about Ke'eli Kolani, and Uncle Larry was, I'm going to call him Uncle Larry. We never ever called him that. But today I'm feeling nostalgic. So but you know, you folks were that warrior class in the 1980s for us, that when we started school in the 1980s, you guys were here when the university was still not a very kind place for people of indigenous origins or people of color. But you were the warrior class, and you folks decided the war that you wage. I mean, it's cute because sometimes no need even war, but you guys so used to challenging each other. It just becomes a character. So I like that Larry says, you ho'okuku me, I ho'okuku you. But at the end of the day, it's for student success. Ke'eli Kolani was largely one of those ali'is that were not very talked about, other than her money and her wealth. But in the 1990s, we had an opportunity because Gail got up one day and says, oh, why don't we do a parade with me, Haunani Bernardino, Kekuhi, and the HLDP, the Hawaiian Leadership Development Program at the time. So I said, what, a parade? So Gail can take care of everything. So Gail can find the money and the resources. Haunani can get the classes together because she was tenured. And then I was the dreamer. I can figure out the route, the clothing, the a'ahu, the chants, and the curricula. Create the curricula to what? To bring Ke'eli Kolani, Princess Ke'eli Kolani, out of the closet and into mainstream conversation. We didn't know, it was a small group of people that knew that piece of her, that she was behind that language. And she didn't have a problem with foreigners, but they needed to be initiated. They needed to be oriented. They needed to know how to act in this kind of a space. And didn't you teach us that, Gail? How to orient, not just ourselves, but how to orient all those people that come, that make Hawaii home. Whose kuleana is it to transform, to create experiences and curriculums and assessments to measure the success of Native Hawaiians and how we can succeed more? And if others can benefit from that, why not? I mean, our friend, dear Rockne Freitas, said, what is good for the Hawaiian is good for the world. And you and I and a handful of people we did exactly that, create the proof that what is good for the Hawaiian is good for the world. You are our Ke'eli Kolani. You oftentimes was sent to go and confront a lot of energy and take your shoes off and step on that lava for us to make sure that we didn't have to be moved off of our territories, that we could dig our feet deep and prosper, not just exist, but prosper. You're that Ke'eli Kolani for us. Now, for me, I think I met your parents first. I was in Larry's class, and we went to an excursion to meet the Makuakanes, who was off of Paho. They had a little red house right off the main street. And we went to meet Mr. Makuakane, because he was growing maile, the first one to propagate maile in a greenhouse. And then he was calling to his wahine, wahine, wahine. And the wife came out, and then I met your mother, and I've loved them ever since. And then I met you, I believe, and then I met Auntie Annie, who was at Napon, and then I met all of you, and you made it your business to take someone like me who didn't really fit. Because, grew up in a Hawaiian world, but not a Hawaiian ethnicity. And so where do we fit? In a time when people were figuring out what it is to be indigenous. We had to inventory who was what was who had this. And, everybody fell in their space. So there are some cracks where people like us fell through because there was no space created. And, Gail, you and a number of people were there to receive people like us that really didn't fit. And not just give us a place to fit, but give us a function and challenge that function. And we've created together, beginning in the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s, and now we've created, the Hawaii Papo Keao, the university's philosophy to indigenize. Great philosophy, but the proof in the pudding, a lot of it came from the work that we're doing here at UH Hilo and at Hawaii Community College. You and I, Gail, and not just you and I, there are others all over the place. Everybody's contributing, but right now I'm going to be selfish. It's about you and I. And because, as Larry has eloquently said, you might be living into, going to Ho'onanea and Luana, your retirement, but you've left the legacy. There's Gail Mililani Makuakāne in every one of us here and those not here. The thousands of people that came through your aloha. So yes, you are our hi'iaka. You teach us how to plant forests, hope, considerations when the place appears to be desolate. You are the pana. You remind us that being Hawaiian is not just ethnicity. It's about caring for our people, caring for our places, and caring for just living the way we do. And hopefully the world will want to live like that and can take that aloha, not our aloha, but create their own aloha and live in their communities well. And you are our Ke'eli Kolani. You're brave. I saw you many times. We called you the bulldog with the lipstick. Many times you had to face a white institution. As a very small Hawaiian woman facing a white institution. And with dignity and respect, you were able to honor the other side, but not being pushed over by them, and informing them and educating them and turning them into allies, making outsiders want to support us because thinks Hawaiian works for the world, works for Hawaii, works for the world. You taught us all that. I love that we were a small group of us who was in Egypt on camels, and you were with your phone looking for Wi-Fi at the Giza plateau where all the dead pharaohs are. No more Wi-Fi, but we used to tease her wherever we went. Gail always had her camera in her hand, and we used to say, "Oh, she's looking for Title III. She's looking for fun. She's doing grant work." She was always, no matter where we went, mountain, ocean, Samoa, Tahiti, she was always had that and always working for her people. Always working. Gail, you used to say, even when you're tired, you used to tell us, "Oh yeah, sleep when you're dead." We got to work for the people. You didn't just preach that. That's what you lived. We've traveled the world together and created a lot of platforms. Kukuena was a great opportunity because, we realized that to strengthen the student experience, we needed to somehow orient the families. So create avenues so the families can come into campus so college is not so foreign to the family. So we decided to create kukuena so that the tutus in the community can come and dance, come to college and dance. But what? The class was filled with the tutus in the university system to come and dance, which reminded us that sometimes
for us to resource our people, we have to resource ourselves. And so sometimes we needed to create not just for the outside, but we needed to create for the inside. You taught us so much. We're going to be talking about you for a very, very long time. Same like we're talking about Hi'iaka. Same like we're talking about Princess Ke'elikolani. Same like we're talking about Pele and all the brave people. Again, if anything we walk away with today is don't be afraid to identify with these great energies that we know as Hawaii. Because there's also accountability. And you taught us accountability, how to be accountable. Try new things. If it works, good. If it doesn't work, then, just accept it and create it anew. But at the end of the day, you said the students have to be beneficiaries of our work. There's many more things I want to say. That's your profession I've been talking about. But Gail as the character, the person on a canoe going on to some island, I don't know where she's taking us, looking for a basket in some kind of island off of the Marshall Islands, and finally get to the islands. We thought we was going to die on this boat. And then the weaver said, oh, why are you guys here? Oh, we're here to see the weaving. They said, oh no, I just sent all the baskets back to the main, the main island. Those very, very moments are special to me. You've taken me places I would have never thought to go myself. You've taught me how to create curriculum that sometimes you had to serve as my backbone. Sometimes I needed that extra support to do what was not done. How do you take an old chant that we revere and create curriculum out of that old chant? I had the vision to do it. I had the words to do it, but I really needed Gail Makuakāne-Lundin to be that person to share her pulse and to be that strength. So Gail, you are my neighbor. She actually lives right next door to us. And so we're acting like this is the end, but she only lives right next door on our street. And as Larry says, come and visit us. And they talk about the repository of knowledge. You're that for us. You've spent many years creating experiences. So we welcome you back. We have a space called Ipuolono at Hawaii Community College. It's a space where all the experiences, all your Hi'iaka experiences, all your Pele experiences, all your Ke'elikolani experiences that you've experienced in higher education can come together, coalesce, and become a point of access for our future leaders, our mo'opuna. So Gail Mililani Makuakāne-Lundin, thank you very much for everything that you are. And if there were any fear in you, which I know they were at moments, you never showed it. It's not easy for a Hawaiian woman to step into places that others have not stepped. We know how to step in the steps of our ancestors. It's scary to step in to make new trails, and you were it. Well, Edith Kanakaole came here in the 70s. She forged a new trail. So you see, we just keep lengthening that trail, opening up those trail systems, so that's what we do. So the Mililani in you, your Mililani is in us, and we will continue opening up those trails. Thank you very, very much. The story is for, no more the ha'ina. The ha'ina never come yet, because there's many, many verses to your song. Thank you for making it. Thank you, family, for getting her here, because, she's used to, on this side of the Kīpaepae, cooking the food. Oh my goodness, one time she made ava. We forced her to sit down on the mat for do ava. Oh, that was the hardest thing she said she had to do in her life, because she had to sit still only to the limits of the mat. So thank you for allowing us. And Stacy said it well. This is not your ho'oku'u. This is our ho'oku'u too. We have to wean ourselves off of you. So we ask you to release us so that we can continue to grow the mililani and to grow the many other things that is still in our body that needs to come out. You've left a very fertile ground of considerations for us to grow. And I love you, my family loves you, our community loves you. And to think, I don't know, you must be 5 feet, or You're not very tall, you're 5 feet. And all that energy came out of you. Oh, that poi you ate as a child was the really best kind of poi. So, we have some 4-footers in here, 5-footers. We have some, size don't matter. Let's reach in deep. And if anything, Gail taught us, don't live a life of mediocrity. Yeah. If this is going to be your profession, do everything we can for ourselves, for our lahui. If not for yourself, for your lahui. It starts either way, with yourself for the lahui or for the lahui, and then you become a recipient of that. So let's do everything we can. My closing words, we are descendants of canoes. The canoes that came from Kahiki, the outside world, into the inner world, into Hawaii. We are descendants of those that have survived the journey. And on the canoes were only the very smartest, the very willing, the very innovative. They had to be highly adaptable to change, because when they land here, they had to adapt to the environment immediately. They had to have the capacity to take their old culture and modernize it for their new space, their new time. You're that. So our migrations may have happened 1,000 years ago, but those elements, the criteria of those on that canoe, you live every day, and we are beneficiaries of that. So I mahalo that the canoe that brought your people to this part of the world did arrive, and because of you and because of your family, and there's no shame in honoring the family. Thank you very much. Thank you for so many things, layers and layers of building and building and building. That's all I have to say for now. But again, I look forward to driving by slow your house to see, I wonder what she's doing. If she must be at Annie's house, so I just gotta go a little bit more down the road. There's Annie over there. Okay, but that's all I have to say. Now, in closing, we would love to hear some words from you, and as you make this depart of service. Yeah. What she can use, this one or the other one, or she can just talk from her. Yeah, she can just talk where she stay. You can just talk where you stay.
Go ahead. First of all, mahalo nui to everyone who's, I'm going to probably get very emotional, but let me take to everyone who's here, my family, who's here to support me both online and physically here, and to each one of you who are playing a role here today. It's quite overwhelming and humbling. Tangoro was correct. It would have been, when you told me that you were going to do this, the first thing I went back to was to think about that, doing the Ava ceremony, and it was like, oh no. That was difficult, but it was also a humbling, worthwhile experience to be able to do that. So I looked upon that as being a reason for her having something like this, because it's not, the celebration isn't about me, but it's for all of you. And each one of you also, I look forward to seeing your growth over time, because you too will all be able to make some significant contribution to what's happening here at the University of Hawaii and within our communities. So, people like myself and others who come before me, and Aunty Edith was definitely a role model. I was fortunate to be one of her students back in the 70s, and she was probably 5 foot as well. And so I was lucky to have not only a relative, Auntie's a relative, but also a wonderful role model that has helped shape a lot of us who've come here to the university. So, I did my little part, that I could do while I was here. And I'm just so grateful that I was able to participate in a lot of that with many of you that are here today, and that you folks will continue in whatever role that you do continue to play, whether you're faculty, staff, or even a student or community member, that you will continue to see the university as a place that you can definitely take some leadership and make contributions to the greater Hawaiian community. So again, mahalo nui for being here. I wanted to especially recognize my kuku'ena sisters. It was kind of, I was tempted to get up there too. Actually, that kuku'ena is actually part of one of the highlights of my career here at the university. That was a place that we could come together. We all were in equal shape and form, and we were all learning together, and that was really sort of a highlight for me, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to go back to that. And of course, we keep on dreaming that Tangaro will come back and help us as well to do that. Not that, those that have taken on that his legacy haven't, you've all continued and contributed in different ways, but Tangaro is really the one who actually helped to move that forward. So again, I don't know if anybody else has anything else to share. So mahalo nui.
Aloha, Gail. Sorry I can't be with you today, but I'm at the Board of Regents meeting. But I did want to congratulate you on your retirement, and I want to mahalo you for all you've done for UH Hilo, for UH, and really for all the people of Hawaii. And especially personally for me, your help leading Hawaii Papaokeao over these past few years has just been invaluable as you've helped us work through some really thorny policy issues. Your wisdom, knowledge, grace are just unmatched. I can't tell you how many times I ask a question or I hear, oh, Aunty Gail is the only one who could help with that, or you should really check with Gail about that. I do know that you've helped students directly, countless students, and you've mentored people across the UH system so that they will continue your legacy of helping students as well. And for all this, I'm really deeply, deeply appreciative. I will miss you, and you should be proud of the legacy that you're leaving throughout UH and across Hawaii, knowing that the work you've spent decades doing for Hawaiians and Hawaii will carry on. So please enjoy your retirement, enjoy your grandchildren. We do know where to find you when we need you, and ahui ho.
Aloha kako and ho'omakai, Gail. On behalf of Hawaii Community College, Kauhale, many of whom you've touched, and you see all the bright colors and colleagues and peers that you have really have been blessed by your presence and your time in Manao. We extend to you our deepest aloha as you go to that next path of journey. We're just so grateful that you're able to touch so many everyday leaders on Hawaii Island between UH Hilo and Hawaii Community College. That legacy continues, and we definitely carry that koleana to carry on your work. So mahalo nui. And hope, I wish I would be there, but big hugs. And I know we want to try to be safe, but we will see each other around town for sure. Aloha.
Aloha kako. I am Louis Hokoana, the Chancellor at Maui College. It is my honor to join all of you this afternoon to honor my mentor, my teacher, and my colleague, Kupuna Extraordinaire Gail Makuakāne-Lundin. I was a dumb 18-year-old when I first met Gail. I had failed my first semester at UH Hilo, and in order to continue to stay at UHH, I had to receive mandatory counseling. Well, that counselor thought I should be a part of a new program that was started the year before I arrived, called the Hawaiian Leadership Development Program, or HLDP. The program was advised by KOFA, the Committee of Faculty of Hawaiian Ancestry, and Aunty Gail was a member of that advisory committee. This group included a star-studded cast of characters: David Singh, Erin Puakamahele, Pila and Kawanui Wilson, Keala Molari, and Manu Meyer were just a few who are part of this group. And they supported many young Hawaiians like myself and helped put us on the paths to college success and opened our eyes to the idea and concept of building and supporting the lahui through higher education. I do the work I do because of this program, and Aunty Gail encouraged me along the way. Once I graduated from college and started my career at Maui College, our paths crossed often because Gail had taken over the HLD program and it would take students to the annual conference regularly. She always encouraged me and provided support whenever I asked for it. I was inspired by her commitment and her ability to get the job done no matter what adversity she faced. Gail is the kupuna of the Alaska Native Hawaiian Serving Title III program. She has helped define what our Title III grants look like throughout the U8 system. Her work continues to live on through the programs she started and the people it has touched. Here's my top 5 lessons from Gail Makuakāne-Lundin. First, make sure you know who you got to give your late to. If not, you're going to get scolding. Second, for Title III, it's max per year. So it says max $500K per year, and the grant is for 5 years. The max you can ask for is $2.5 million, not $500K. That was me and Aunty Gail's secret for a little while. 3, just put your head down and do the work. Never mind complaining. That is how you get it done. 4, everybody not always going to agree with you, but if you believe it is the right thing, pursue it with all your gusto. And last but not least, build the lahui through education. Be patient and kind with Haumana. Give them as much support as you can and wish them well and honor their accomplishments along the way. That's it, kupuna. Mahalo nui for your work. I'm sure you're not done. I will honor your work by continuing your work to mentor future educational leaders of the lahui, and I ask that they do, and will ask that they do the same. Mahalo, anui, a me ke aloha pauole, ka mau.
Am I on right now?
Yes, Auntie Teresa, it's your turn.
Well, I hope we can get Beth into. I'm very, very happy to be a part of this celebration for Gail. We're especially happy that she has a chance to get more sleep, more time with her mo'opuna in particular, more than one mo'opuna, but just time for family and of course us, the sisters. Gail is our youngest sister, and and she was always very shy, as we said, when she was when we were younger. And I'm just really glad that she found her voice and just went out there. It was what she did was a labor of love always, always. And one of the things about her that we in our family also know is that she works hard. She works until the job is done. And that's how we were raised. That's how we were raised, to get the job done and then do the best you can. And if, as someone said earlier, if cannot, figure out a different way to approach it. But we're so happy about the work she's done, because we were also beneficiaries of her work. We participated in a number of activities, but we're happy that we're going to have more time together as a family, and that's something that has always been really strong, is our family support for one another. And probably right now the biggest support is our mama, who will be 98 years old. in a few days, August 2nd. So our sister Liz, Mama is with Liz in Honolulu, on Oahu, I should say. And we wanted to bring Mama in if can. Oh.
Okay, can you hear? Can you hear? Can anybody hear?
Yes.
Yes.
Look, girls. Hey, look. Mama. Oh, Mama. Look. As if she could speak, she would say she's still kicking, but not too high. She's still kicking, but not too high. Oh, that's okay, Mama. So she's, you know, we mahalo ke akua for, to have her with us and just to spend quality time with her. But like she would say, she's still kicking, just not too high.
You know, one of the things that our father was a very strong figure in our family, but he always said Mama was a strength. You know, he couldn't do it without Mama, and we know that that's the case. We couldn't do what we've done without our, like I said earlier, our parents. And we were really lucky too that we had our grandparents that we grew up with, and they lived into their 90s, Mama's parents. And then, so we had a very strong family support network growing up. And Gail, as our youngest sister, or the youngest child, I should say, in the family, was the one who really spent a lot of time with Mama. When her son was born, Mama came home with her and didn't leave for what, Gail, 28 years. Yeah, 28 years. And now Gail is continuing that tradition of taking care of Mo'opuna, because it's been a real honor for all of us of her journey.
Just hi.
Liz is Mo'opuna, and I'm usually there at her house, but I just tested positive for COVID. So
girls,
I'm in isolation.
Come back here by Aunt Grandma. Come see. Send your first aloha. Come over here, girls. Come
aloha.
There. Congratulations, Aunty Gail.
Congratulations, Aunty Gail.
Oh my
Aloha.
God.
Kaliko. Aloha, Kaliko.
Look. Kaliko leho mamo. Kaliko leho mamo. Look. Oh. Okay. Thank you so much.
Mahalo,
But yes.
Louis, sisters.
Oh, I know. And this
Annie,
is like
Annie's in the back
said. Like Tangoro said, we do ugly cries. Yeah. So you have to hold it in, hold it back. And I agree with him that Gail is a bulldog with lipstick, but she's not the only one. Teresa is like that too. And so they get the job done. They, they're focused. They go where they need to go, do what they need to do. So I guess our parents had a few bulldogs in the house.
Really?
But again, on behalf of our ohana and especially our parents, Lydia Ahi and Daniel Morris Makuakāne, we want to mahalo everyone's heartfelt tributes to our sister Gail, and it's so well deserved. And again, mahalo nui to everybody. I know they're very proud of her. So thank you very much. And I think lava for me.
Lava. I see Robbie Ann and Kapua.
Oh, yes.
Robbie Ann and Kapua. Maybe they want to say something. Oh,
They did have a program. I think
okay.
we've gone off script.
Okay. Okay.
We went out of order. But that's okay. That's okay. And then our sister Annie behind there. Aloha, sister. Love you folks.
Aloha.
Kapua, Rabi Ann, Kaliko Lehua Mamo. So-
Aloha, Mom. Mom, can you hear us?
Oh, oh, look at
Oh my goodness.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
Kawakani Lehua. Aloha.
Aloha.
Oh,
The newest addition to our ohana.
Yeah. Say aloha,
Oh,
Auntie. Hi, Grandma.
look,
Grandma.
hi. Oh, look at it.
Aloha.
She's cute.
Thank you. Mahalo.
Mahalo
Yeah.
nui, family.
Mahalo.
Next.
Next. Next. There's more pre-recordings.
Okay, Puka.
I think it's our turn next. Aloha
and
nui
you gotta mute
kako.
yourself too.
Oh, aloha everyone. My name is Hualani Lu, and I'm the Associate Director at the UH Hilo Kipuka Native Hawaiian Student Center. And I've had the privilege of
The acting
learning
director.
Thanks, Auntie. Of learning from Aunty Gail for the past few years. And I just wanted to share something brief with some of our peer mentors, some of our student workers. In an interview a few months ago, Aunty Gail shared with some of us that her parents instilled in her and her siblings that whatever they do in life, the main thing is to take care of their families. And Aunty Gail has definitely built upon this foundation and expanded this concept of family to include everyone that she meets. She continues to apply this approach in her work, especially as she mentors each incoming generation of Native Hawaiian students and professionals. And throughout all of our time with Aunty Gail, she has always emphasized that our work should have a direct and positive impact on Native Hawaiian students. This is a hallmark of her legacy, and the success of Native Hawaiian students are definitely a direct result of that. And so today we have two of our peer mentors from our Kipuka family to share more about her impacts.
Aunty Gail's life work has contributed to the development and shaping of Hawaiian leadership on University of Hawaii campuses and beyond. Her values are grounded in the idea that the regrowth, bolstering, and expansion of Native Hawaiian students is dependent on the presence and advocacy of Hawaiian faculty and staff on campuses. As part of a group of early trailblazing Hawaiian educators at the University of Hawaii, her influence has been essential in reclaiming both tangible and intangible spaces for Hawaiian students, faculty, and staff in higher education.
Her revolutionary and innovative contributions come from her commitment to place the voices of Native Hawaiian students at the forefront of her collaborative and community-centric approaches, allowing for the growth of resources for student success. For those that have crossed paths with Aunty Gail, you may know her motivation is humbly to do the right thing because it is the right thing to do, which has collectively impacted our community. Just as Akipuka have offered rest, restoration, and replenishment for many, Aunty Gail continues to feed and nurse the community through her engagement, guidance, and mentorship to countless individuals, leaving an enduring impact on their huaka'i. Auntie, there aren't enough words to express our aloha for everything that you've done for us and our community. Your impact go far beyond our individual journeys here at UH Hilo, but continue to resonate through us and our ohana long after we have graduated. Me oi mau no e Aunty Gail. Ka waipuna lau o kumako aloha.
Mahalo nui.
Aloha kako, aloha Aunty Gail. Ikalamai, I can't be there live. I'm going to be on a plane. However, I wanted to send my aloha and mahalo. And I thought, this must be really difficult for you, Aunty Gail. You're so ha'a, and now we all praise you the whole time. But, you know, I'm going to make it quick and painful. I have so many stories, and but I'm just going to talk about one thing. Basically, I think as so many other people, you changed my life, and you had such an impact on my life. And I'm so grateful to you. And of course, starting with, you know, a big part was Uluwakia, but I also remembered we talked stories so much. And a lot of times I came to you with like, oh, this person did this. And a lot of times it was administrators, remember? And your response was, you know, Harold, you're not wrong with your criticism, but are you willing to step up and do it yourself? And I was like, oh no, I don't want to be an administrator. I want to go surfing whenever I want. And so, but that was stayed in my mind constantly till this day, because at some point I was like, wow, she's really right. Although you didn't say it, it sounds almost like, okay, if you're not willing to step up, then shut the F up. Yeah, of course you didn't say that, but I was like, wow, she's so right. And it really inspired me at some point to say, you know what, I should think about it. Do I step up and serve my community in a capacity where I feel I can make decisions and do it a little bit different? And now that I'm here in Monterey, in one of those positions, I have more compassion now for the administrators, but I also think we can do it with a little bit more aloha, and like you always have been. And in the back, you see here, I'm sitting in my little hale in Monterey. This came right after I moved here, of course, from Aunty Gail in the mail. Reminds me where my home is and makes me always feel really makai when I look at it and I come home. It's the only thing that's on the wall, by the way. I hope you have a great day. I can't wait to see you soon. I send you my aloha and mahalo, and see you soon. Yes.
Nearly 30 years ago, during the roaring 90s, a number of us Generation X Haumana were first introduced to Dr. Gail Makuakāne-Lundin. From as far back as we can remember, she has always been a multitasker, holding on to a number of titles, all with the intent to support Native Hawaiians to pursue their educational goals and aspirations.
In 1993, she became the new director of the Hawaiian Leadership Development Program. To many of us, we knew her as Gail, or Aunty Gail, in our HLDP program. HLDP was a program created in 1983 with the intent to retain generations upon generations of Native Hawaiian students attending UH Hilo through opportunities of community service, mentorship, and research, while also building upon our leadership capacity and leadership foundations.
First year HLDP students were required to take University 101, where we learned the ins and outs of Hawaiian leadership. Through HLDP and through Gail's leadership, we were introduced to a number of university and community movers and shakers, while building a multitude of bridges between our university and off-campus community through Ma'alama and Aloha Aina service projects. In true Makuakāne hospitality, Gail also introduced us to her beautiful ohana and opened her hale to all of us as a kipuka.
All HLDP hands were also on deck for the Hawaiian Leadership Conference. Depending on your HLDP seniority, Kuleana included hosting our conference presenters, Ho'ike Night, T-shirt committee, HLC Pa'ina, public relations, and the endless logistics necessary to put on such a successful conference that brought in tens of thousands of participants throughout the years.
It is from HLDP and Gail's mentorship that we all have grown and become more confident in our leadership capacity well into our adult lives.
Many of us have paid it forward in a multitude of ways while also serving other Native Hawaiians in our communities.
We have grown to become makua, educators, social workers, counselors, directors, administrators, doctors, scientists, politicians, PhDs.
And the list of pathways go on in the programmatic success and genealogy of HLDP alumni.
With that, we mahalo you for the many foundations you have paved,
for the many pillars you have raised,
for the rooftops you have constructed, and for some of us have even thatched.
Iola mai kahipae a kahipae.
Iola mai luna I lalo mai ke kaupoku ai ke kahua, iola na iwi e io kulukulu a. Ke aloha nui a oe.
Teresa, she's a we're not going to keep you any longer. We want to return you to your family and your mo'opuna. And just say thank you. This is time to celebrate. It's time to celebrate you. For a little bit, we're tearful because we're so used to seeing you run miles every day on this campus, doing good stuff. But it's time for us to run and run well. Thank you for everything. We look forward to opening up avenues to, for you to come back. On your terms, we promise you can do exactly the things you like to do. But you know, this is a great way of living a profession. We celebrate Indigenous leadership. And sometimes, you know, we stop looking far for models because we don't have to. You're here and there are others like you and there are yous in them. So a few years later, we're going to be able to see the beautiful things that they do. Thank you very much. We love you. We respect the fact that you don't like lace because of COVID. But at least you got our lays of aloha, our songs and our chants and our stories. But in closing, we sing. Leo hilo taua pe tauahi. Hae, hae kuhi kua, puhau kuhi aloha po mai lai aue. Pai a kaulu kona ne ki ina upolu e kakau. E kau e ka he mai a ka la e lele, ka ma me lele vai pipi olu ai. Ina lele, ka ma me lele vai pipi olu ai. Ina taua na wane, ike ala e miane. Kapono e kawalaina, ai taua na wane, apa pahita hali ko papanilele hua. Pahita hali ko papanilele hua. Nakahao mauna ke akuni o, na ke ahi mauna loa tua mole hua la lai muli tua iwie. Ie vene tamo ana nui pa ina taua na wane. Kapono e kawala ina hoi taua na wane apa hika hali ko papanilele hua apa hika hali ko papanilele hua ina taua na wane ke ala e miane kapono e kawala ina hoi taua na wane Pahikali ko papanelele hua. Pahikali ko papanelele hua. Lei o hilo I kaua pe kauahi. He ola, he halo I hile. Naka. Let's kuno honua this one. You don't need to go down here. Might not come up. Mahalo anui for your aloha nui. Okay, that's all we have. Mahalo nui.
Aloha nā leo mā kohi maka ole ke ala nui hele mauka o huli wale la e huli. E huli a e ana I ka ala nā ole e kāna hai nā ia kuia oe. E ia ki kāna hai nā ka leo a hele o wale no ai.
All right. Enjoy the mo'opunas.
I will. Mahalo nui, everyone.
Mahalo for bringing her. Yeah, we weren't sure.
She's gonna run through the mountains. Thank you to the tech people. Thank you for the facilitators of all of this. Thank you for all the dancing and coming from afar. Yeah.